to interrupt this program to bring you a special bulletin. There is a special bulletin. Mom, hurry. Come watch this. Watch this, Mom. They're talking about people are dying from eating tuna out of the Pacific Ocean. Mom, come here. Dad, come here. What is this? They said several years ago. Here, go to channel 0. That's where the news is, honey, right there. Sarah Palin, Mike Huckabee. They're still on TV, honey? Whatever happened to that maniac Glenn Beck, boy? Remember he told us to sell our Dow at 6,400 and buy gold 10 years ago? The Dow's at what now? Gold's at what? Oh, he's back on the cocaine, drinking again? What about Rush Limbaugh? Oh, he's back molesting boys again and back popping pills. What's Sarah Palin? Oh, she's back to snorting cocaine on freaking barrels and having sex with freaking college athletes while her husband babysits the kids. Hold on, what is this, Mom? Now, what are they talking about? They said something about Fukushima happened 10 years ago. 10 years ago, they said there were 3, and they're still going on in it. They poured in the Pacific for 10 years, and nobody said nothing? President Obama back then? President Clinton back then? Hillary? President Hillary never said anything? What are they talking about, honey? I never heard anything about that, dear. I don't know what they're talking about. This nuclear fallout thing? I don't know what they're talking about. Dad, I was in that Christian-based school you sent me to, that charter-based school, and they had us reading the Bible. We read the Bible every day, all day, and I read that usury is against Christianity. And then I got into my economics class, and they started talking about a service-based economy, and I realized it really means nothing but a usury-based economy, Dad. That's nonsense. Don't listen to that stuff. What do you mean, Dad? It's the school you sent me to. You pay a lot of money to go to school. You mortgage your house 4 times. What do you mean your styrofoam house has mold in it? What do you mean this fake rock on the outside's falling off? Honey, what do you mean that's just fake rock and there's styrofoam? That's not really stucco. What are you talking about? What do you mean our plastic surgeon's getting sued again? One of my breast implants exploded the other night. Why I was at the boss's party. Dad, you guys went all in this service-based. Do you know that we had tariffs that Alexander Hamilton demanded we had tariffs, and he wrote in 1774 that we had to stop cheap Chinese goods? Dad, you know there have been hundreds of thousands of people killed in Bangladesh for wearing these clothes. It's usury-based. You support all this. It's against Christianity, Dad. No, it's not, son. No, it's not. You got to kill them Muslims. Kill them Muslims. Carpet bomb them. Well, we did that. We did that for freaking 15, 20 years. We slaughtered them over there. We dumped white phosphorus. The nuclear fallout, now they're saying everybody's getting cancer. All those kids are getting cancer, Dad. The half-life plutonium in my science class, plutonium's 24,000 years. Why didn't you say anything to us? Why didn't you tell us, Dad? No, they're lying. They're lying. That radiation's good for you. Remember that Aunt called her? Well, whatever happened to that girl? Well, Dad, you know that's a guy. Yeah, she's pretty good looking, yeah. Dad, you're sick. That's a guy from Key West. Don't you get that? No, she said that was good. Sarah Palin said that was good. Sarah Palin's back on the cocaine, Dad. Fox News went away. They're not even on television anymore, Dad. None of our generation, they all hate them. They all know it was you guys that realized that they were freaking liars. Dad, it's a usury. It's against Christianity. Dad, how come you keep using Mom's hairspray? And you guys sit on the front row and clap and say that you're born again. You're born again. When, Mom, how come you don't talk about this Fukushima? We've been eating tuna. We had tuna the other day for lunch. Yeah, I love tuna. Me too, honey. Yeah. Why don't you say anything to me? Why didn't you tell me? I've been eating this since I was a boy. You know your sister died of leukemia. Your brother died of leukemia. Your cousin, my cousin, at 12 years old, died of leukemia. Mom, you don't care? You don't care they've poisoned the environment. What about this BP thing I was reading about? I didn't realize that they dumped chemical disbursements for 10 years on the thing and just extorted the country. How come you let them destroy our environment? You say you're Christians. No, 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 son. No, God wants us to exploit the earth. God wants us to live. God wants us to be rich. Joe and his trophy wife down Texas, and the molester in Colorado. He's a molester, Mom. He molests young boys. These mega churches, they're not Christians. They're devils just like you. How can you sit in the front row? Mom, Dad, I heard you and Dad talk. You had an affair with your boss. How come you didn't? What would you do if Dad did? I was taking for every dime he had. Well, that's not Christianity. What are you guys talking about? Dad, there's plutonium in the Pacific Ocean. How come nobody told us? No, they're lying about that, Dad. Dad, I read about plutonium. I read about nuclear fission. I read about Einstein. I read about Sokolov. I read about Oppenheimer. They all said this was going to happen. You did nothing, Dad. How can you call yourselves Christian? How can you drive around? You still have a yellow sticker on your car 15 years later? President Hillary Clinton supports the nuclear industry. How come these anti-nuclear fighters were all over YouTube? I found this crazy radical guy who got leukemia, Dad. I found him on YouTube that was screaming and yelling, it's going to give you leukemia. Then he got leukemia. I found him. He had hundreds of videos out there. He'd rant and rave and say the F word every other word. He was right about every word. It was reported. How come you wouldn't listen? How come CNN wouldn't report it, Dad? Son, you need to quit listening to that freak, that radical maniac. You radical, you need to come to freaking church again. You need to come meet with our bishop, our pastor. You need to meet with him. Dad, I think he's gay. I think he's overcompensated. I think our bishop's gay. What do you mean he has wife and kids? No, he rubbed my leg in there. What, son? What? No. God would never let that happen. He would not do that. Besides, they control the court system here. Well, our senator, Mike Lee, Dad. What about our senator? Remember when he got elected, he introduced a bill on the floor for a balanced budget agreement. You know his house was in foreclosure while he got elected. $1.1 million to the bad. He short sold his house for $600,000, Mike Lee. His father's the Supreme Court Justice, and it's legal tender. You can be sued for it, Dad. Here, he got a variance. He got a pass. He's the only one, Dad. So let's do as I say. What about, remember Swallow, our Attorney General here in Utah? Check cashing. He owned a check cashing place called Check City, 480% usury. What about these illegal, so-called illegal people, Dad, that mow your lawn, that work for you? They're a hungry people from the South. That is quintessentially definition of usury. You have them working on your farm, Dad. You work them 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. You pay them nothing. Dad, I'm not going to be you. Son, I don't know who's filling your head with all this madness. I don't know. Change the TV. You change that TV back to 13. Change it back to 13. Yeah, I wish it was 13, Mom. I wish it was 13. Back when the Masons ran this country, this country was decent. What happened? Skull and Crossbones took over, Dad. You know the Skull and Crossbones, that they all came out of Skull and Crossbones. It's those 13 elite universities. They got rid of tariffs. They freaking put into this usury-based economy. They exploited us. They killed us. They destroyed the environment, Dad. No, son, I don't know who's filling your head with this stuff. I don't know who's filling your head with this. Son, I'm going to Vegas this weekend with my girlfriends. Well, last time you went to Vegas, you didn't come back for 4 or 5 days, and Dad freaking bought you a new car. And I heard you talking. You'd been having an affair with your boss. How come you didn't leave her, Dad? How come you didn't leave her? Shut up, son. That's none of your business. Mom, would you do the same thing, Dad? No, I would sue him for everything he had. Let's go to church. Dad, the bishop, the pastor put his hand on my leg. No, son. Besides, they run the court systems. Besides, that plutonium's good for you. Ann Coulter said so. Stay untuned.